Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Monday, February 2nd, Groundhog's Day. Welcome to your place for helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions, and surely we will get an update about whether Satoshi saw his shadow. Is the bear market over, or is the sunshine coming to thaw this crypto winter? Certainly it was chilly last night, but we'll talk more about it with input from your questions. If you've got a question and you're listening in the future, then hello, we hope your candles are thawed and green. Please leave your questions for us where the show lives 24/7. I'm talking about community.rumshq.com. Alex, Will, happy February. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Obviously, I'm in a different place. I am up in the mountains of Maine, having a good time. So going to be getting some skiing in around work and making tiki-talkie videos and getting some trades in as I continue my 5K trading challenge. And just living my best life, man. Here with my beautiful girlfriend. Yeah, and just having a good time.
Alex, what about you?
I'm just excited for Will to get to fund the entire show when his trading challenge inevitably makes him a bajillionaire by the end of the month.
Okay, let's zoom in on that. I missed the announcement of this. Is this one of those moments where I was on the show doing other buttons, like pulling things behind the scenes, the Wizard of Oz style, or did you just, okay,
no.
Then read me in, read us in. I saw a tweet about it, and I was like, oh, shit, you probably already have made it. Yeah? What's the challenge?
Yeah, the challenge was just to see how high or maybe how quickly I could blow $5,000 in a margin trading challenge by the end of February. Just like, hey, how high can I take this? Let's just have some fun, because I've never been a margin or leverage trader. For those of you who don't know what that means, that's where you go to an exchange of some type, whether it's a centralized one or a decentralized one, doesn't matter, but it's where you go and you borrow money. And because of that, you can, of course, make more money. So if I had $1,000 and I'm using 10x leverage, they let me borrow $9,000. So my total position is, $10,000, and I get to make more money or lose all of my money 10 times faster, So it's a double-edged sword. And I just wanted to see what I could do with it. So I announced it over on Twitter, and the impetus from this, and right now my 5K, let's see, I first made my first trade it was right near the end of January. I think it was January 30th when I started this, or maybe January 29th. And I was like, let's just see how this goes. So now my $5,000 is about $14,000. It's only been a few days, so it's going very well so far. And it would be really funny if this becomes like a $200,000 position, and then like the last trade, it all like gets blown to zero. But yeah, so that's it. And the impetus to this was, I've always been like a midterm swing trader, and I've done like some day trading here and there, but I just never really felt comfortable with it. And to be very honest with you, I don't feel super comfortable with this here, because like the emotional pull of like short-term high leverage trading is just like aggressive, and I can't say I necessarily feel comfortable with it. But I was actually playing around on some things on Abstract, which is a layer 2 for Ethereum. It's made by the Pudgy Penguins group. And I just wanted to see what else they had, because it'd been a while since I'd hopped on there. And there was a game where you could trade with real money or fake money, and I was doing it with fake money, Pengu live with fake money using leverage. And I was playing around with it, and real price movement, and I was doing really well. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I left, and I came back a week later, and I was like, oh, let me play that game again. And I started doing really well again. I was like, oh, okay. And then I played it again for a few days in a row, just spent a little bit of time. And I was like, okay, like I'm actually way better at this now than I was the last time I tried to day trade, which was like years ago. Okay, so this has been years in the making. And I was like, oh, interesting. And the other thing that I kind of always wanted to do a little bit was like, well, I've never done a public trading position before, because like there is a small group of very loud people, as there always is on the internet, who are just like, dude, like you don't know anything and you don't make money. And I was like, you know what? maybe it's time to tell those people to fuck off. So let's just do 5K and just show people that like, I kind of know what I'm doing. You know, maybe your method is different from my method, and that's totally fine. And you think my method's dumb, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Everyone, there are a ton of different ways to skin this trading and investing cat. And certain ways will work for people and certain ways won't work for people. I've tried to copy certain people's strategy and it did not work for me. I had to find my own. So, you know, that is why we have found ourselves to where we are today. And yeah, so far so good. We'll see how it goes.
Very nice.
Godspeed.
Thank you.
Godspeed.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny that, you know, most people, when they kick off one of these things, it was like, well, let's see if we can double this thing in a month. And I feel like I went to the bathroom and came back and it was already more than double. And I just texted him, what the hell?
Yeah, I doubled my position in 18 hours.
Although I do have to say, Will, I was waiting to see if you would include this in the story. There was some little mix-up that you had that reset you back a little bit. What was that?
Yeah, so I was, and this is a great lesson for everybody. So, because again, I'm not an experienced leveraged trader, right? And like short-term trading. So I think this is a great mistake that I think most people will make. Where I had taken the 5K up to about,
you were like 12 or 12
my
change.
computer's restarting in 5 minutes. Oh my God. Anyway, sorry, I'm on my work laptop. But yeah, so my mistake was I had my chart. Because I liked my chart on TradingView better than the chart within Drift, which is the DeFi environment I've been using to use leverage. And I was looking on the chart at Hyperliquid, and I was like, all right, cool. I forget if I was setting a short or a long. And then I go on Drift I was moving quickly. I was like, okay, cool. It's happening now. I want to set it. And I go and I set it. But instead of setting a 10x short or long on Hype, I set a 20x long or short on Solana. And then all of a sudden, I stepped away from the computer and I stepped back, and all of a sudden my position's down 25%. I was like, what the hell's happening here? And I looked and it was the wrong asset. And I was like, holy shit, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I was like, I'm totally about to lose everything. And so I canceled the position. I was like, I gotta walk away from this computer. The funny thing about all that is if I had kept that position open, I would have made so much money. But because like Solana ended up reversing immediately, but I wasn't watching it. I was making mistakes. And I was like, nope. This is not the day. I need to just take this lesson, internalize it, walk away, and try again tomorrow.
What a great lesson.
Woke up to the disappointment that nothing triggered for me, because I think I had like 95 and lower set, and it looks like Solana might have had a little wick to like 97 and change.
Oh, dude.
I missed it.
Dude,
yeah.
I was a snooze.
I was saying backstage that I got the alert text last night as I was winding down. Hey, check CoinGecko. And I don't have a lot of limit orders in. I prefer to do things manually at this stage in the market when we're like actively moving. There's price discovery. That's because I have a tendency to limit, and then I'm out of powder or I've spent too much money or something like that. You don't want to be in that position. Yep. So I like to do it manually and just assess how I feel and see how things are going and, stick to my strategy. Weird enough, in moments like this, that helps. But for whatever reason, last night I said, I'm not going to do it. And I kind of wish I had, because it was a nice dip. But like Will, you said backstage, patience, 'tis a virtue. And surely we will continue to get good buying opportunities. I was buying all weekend, so I didn't miss it. But, I was a little sad to miss it last night.
Well, hey, before my computer restarts, I just saw some questions here. Like, hey, can you explain long and shorts? Like, what's up, what's down? So a long is you're placing a bet that the market's going to go up, or the asset is going to go up. A short means that the asset's going to go down. Long, up, short, down. And, you can set that at, with leverage. So again, if you set a 10x leverage, for every 1% of your long or your short that you're betting on, you would gain 10%. However, every 1% it goes in the opposite direction of your bet, you lose 10%, which means if that asset moves 10% in the opposite direction of your long or short, your entire position is gone. Which is why, just like how Evan is saying he's just doing all these things manually, he's not setting and forgetting things. When I set a trade, I am sitting in front of my computer and I am watching it very closely, and I'm taking very conservative gains, with high leverage. So I get a 1 or 2% move and I make 10, 20, 30%, depending on the leverage, right? However, if it starts going the opposite direction that I thought it was going to, I'm out. I'm out immediately. I don't even care if it's a fake out. I'm just out because, you can lose everything so quickly.
I have a visual up for people in podcast land. If you want to see more about this, we can put it in the community. I find visuals help here. But essentially, when you're buying spot on the spot price right now, it doesn't matter how the price moves, you're going to be fine. We'll see you in a second, Will. Yeah, okay. He's giving me a little. All right, okay. Hopefully. You're going to be fine. But if you are increasing the amount of exposure, it requires you increase the amount of what's called margin, which is the capital that you put up. That makes them say, yeah, you know what? We'll trust this guy. He'll borrow some money from us. It'll be fine. But is the amount you stand to lose if you get, we say, liquidated. Alex, I see you're pinging me over here in the private chat. Is there something absolutely urgent?
No.
That was so alarming in the middle of I was talking. I was like, whoa. Oh, he just said, check this shit out. So in Rise Up News, we've got tags in the private chat. In Will's personal news, his computer is restarting and he'll be back. I have something I want to talk about when he returns, which is the danger and concern I have for anybody who does crypto publicly talking about wins and losses on the internet. So stay tuned for that. But first, by way of that, Alex, did you know that in addition to Punxsutawney Phil, there is Buckeye Chuck from Cleveland, Woodstock Willie in Illinois, Gertie the Groundhog also in Illinois, General Beauregard Lee is there in Georgia, your state, Lander Lil in Wyoming, and according to Tori, there is also a pierogi-eating cat who predicts winter weather where she lives.
I can genuinely say that no, I was not aware of a single one of those.
Yes, indeed it's true. And Punxsutawney Phil, the one we watch for the weather, did see his shadow. So they're expecting 6 more weeks of winter. So
More skiing.
Will, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we had you here and therefore had you by audio. I think I had you muted. If you were saying something, I apologize. I've got you now, though.
It's all good. But no, I wasn't really saying anything. I was just letting you go. I was like, all right, well, I'll just restart my computer. But I knew there was one other groundhog, but not the others. But also for people who aren't American, you might not be conditioned to thinking that this is normal. We tear groundhogs out of their homes, hold them up in front of a crowd of people to then decide if it saw its shadow or not, to understand what the weather is going to be like. And then the crowd cheers and everyone drinks.
Yeah, when you explain it like that.
Take the groundhog, throw it back into its hole, and then we hunker down for winter or prepare for spring.
Pivoting away from animals who need our help.
It is a diabolical tradition when you really think about it.
It is a diabolical tradition. So, maybe let your groundhog sleep in next year. Sounds like a
still better than technical analysis.
There are a lot of people who have reported a lot of wins in the comments too, like Bearded and Jeff with limit orders. They woke up to having limit orders filled. I saw a number of folks talking about how they've got their assets in a set it and forget it sort of situation. Have you guys been seeing a lot of peril on the timeline, or mostly people feeling okay about this moment?
Which timeline?
Before I started this... which timeline? Any timeline, I guess.
Because my Twitter timeline and my TikTok timeline are very different.
Fascinating. Go with both. Let's understand.
Where were you going to take it, Will? You had a thought.
I had you had an answer to my question. Instead of
Alex is just giving me more questions.
Yeah. Well, hang on. I let Alex go because I'm logging back in right here. So I'll be back on the big screen in a second.
What timeline, Alex? You're seeing differences.
I am personally very frustrated with the crypto Twitter timeline, as I usually am, but for different reasons. And so I mean, despair, yes. I almost always only see despair on that on that timeline because I'm sorry. I think that almost everyone there is stepping up to the plate with the reading comprehension skills and the attention span of like a delirious toddler. And it's really, really, really frustrating because these are like, this is where the industry lives for like all intents and purposes. And these people are just awful. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, you know, there's definitely a good hearty dose of despair. Right now, it's mostly because people are like, wait a second, everything is awful. I thought this was number go up time. And it's like, well, I can see that you've applied almost no rationale to that thought process. And I'm really sorry for you. But nope, everything is awful. And it's going to continue to be awful because there's no reason for it not to be. And then over here, it's kind of the same thing. It's just, you know, goalpost moving by the XRP army and a bunch of cope elsewhere, and then still have your meme coin shill traders. There's some weird streams out here, dude. There's one that I keep stumbling on now because I accidentally lingered there for like 4 seconds 6 weeks ago, and now my For You page is like, oh, this is your favorite show, where like some guy with exclusively red lighting who looks like he is like Cypher's distant cousin from The Matrix. Evan, The Matrix is a movie. And he's just like doing crypto trading while talking in like this really silky, creepy voice about.
Are you talking about the guy with like the hazy effect?
Yes, it's all red.
Looks like he's he reminds me of a smoker in a casino.
Oh, weird.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Is that him?
It's all red. He has a shitload of text on the screen. Seems to be like one of the ISO maxis, and just like sits there and dude, I don't know. It's weird. It's the weirdest crypto stream on TikTok.
You know, I have never watched his content, but I scroll by and it makes me feel something familiar. I think it reminds me of being a kid in Las Vegas. There are a lot of people like that sitting in red lit rooms with a bunch of cigarette smoke around him, and I don't know what he says, but I'm like, oh hey buddy.
Yeah, that's probably it. Not gonna lie, I kind of want to say, dude, it's around. Just take a scroll at random hours in the wee hours of the morning, and you'll find it.
Yeah, and then for me on my side, it's been mostly, I don't know, it's been like fairly mixed. You know, I get some people being like, Bitcoin was a scam always, I knew it. And then I get, most people though are like, hey, I have limits, I have buys set down here. It's like, hey, I'm underwater, but I'm trying, like overall it's like positive, even if people are like really down, people are being generally positive and being like, okay, I can fix this. Hang on, I'm trying to learn for the most part, which is nice. And then once I started, longing and shorting and starting the trading challenge initially, I'm getting a lot of people being like, hey, dude, I set this short also. And like, I'm winning here and I'm winning here and I'm doing this. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Because, I've never really shorted crypto before. And now like, I feel bad about it, but like, making money is nice. But, now I'm getting some more people who are kind of winning in this market also, as opposed to, just kind of people who are, down, but trying to fix or waiting for lower prices. And then I have some people who, it's always funny when Bitcoin's price falls, the calls that I get in the comment section are always just progressively more apocalyptic. And now that Bitcoin's at 80, fell down to what, 78,000 or 78,000, I think it was.
Well, it fell down and then it came back up.
People are like, yeah, Bitcoin to 30K, always knew it was going to happen. I was like, that's the first comment I've seen about Bitcoin to 30K. But it's like,
same.
Bitcoin to 90, Bitcoin to 7, Bitcoin to 65, Bitcoin to 50, to 30, to 20, and then today on Twitter I saw a call for Bitcoin to 10K, and I'm like, all right, that one's just engagement farming. But yeah, but that's it. For the most part, I'd say people are generally positive, even if they're down.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing too, and it might be because of the kind of people we hang around with, but I do see just generally in comments a lot of concern on other people's videos from people who bought in 2024, 2025. Maybe they haven't figured out the timing of things yet. They're not comfortable with the volatility. I always see people like that, and if that's you and you're listening, then I want to encourage you to keep listening especially to your gut, because that's a signal that maybe you're overinvested, and perhaps it would be wise for you to diversify, divest, sell some of your crypto assets, don't panic, and come back with a different strategy now that you know that volatility like this is to be expected. That's the big lesson and the big takeaway that I see people learn every cycle. You know, this is pretty normal.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean crypto's dead.
You just gotta tighten your expectations too. You know, if you are dip buying, then like Will was. Will, the trades that you're taking and making here. Granted, I know the nuance here is that you're using leverage, so it's not worth it to like sit there and hold it for a week and hope and watch it just range back and forth or whatever. But in general, like, just don't plan on sitting on stuff. You don't have to sit on it for ages. You don't have to keep what you're holding or what you buy right now for the next 10 years if you don't want to. That's the most common mistake I see people making right now is, you're trying to bring down an average, or you're, trying to make a swing trade or something like that for the first time. And then all of a sudden, it just continues to go the wrong way. You think you made a terrible mistake, but maybe you had the opportunity to take some profit before. So just remember that wins are wins. And at this particular stage, I don't know, any like reversal that we were to see, I wouldn't trust it at all. So I would definitely capitalize on that and take some profits on something if you happen to find yourself up from here. I just don't see, 30K and below for Bitcoin is insane.
Oh yeah.
But there's always got to be something like that. Granted, last time we went down to what, 16 and change?
Yeah, but I'm really
market.
I'm putting a lot of faith in that higher low, higher high. I'm really putting a lot of faith in the election year thing that's never been broken before, even though, it could happen. You know what I'm talking about? How would you say it concisely? When Trump is elected. Yeah.
It was in the mid 70s, and historically, Bitcoin has never fallen back below what it was on the day of an election.
Of a U.S. presidential election.
Yeah,
So I'm kind of holding on to that.
They've been normal.
Every trend is meant to be broken eventually.
Yes. This asset
I gotta be honest with you. If Bitcoin went to 70K, I would probably spend most of my dry powder buying it, unless the nature with if it. You guys know how it is. There's no one size fits all. If it moved in such a way, I'm going to be assessing it as it moves, and I've got only so many dollars I can spend, but I'm in a good position. I've been waiting for this. This has been, a good cycle for me in terms of I've got the stable coins. I'm deploying them in strategies as things are moving down. The question is always, when's the bottom? And also, how high or low will you feel bad buying if the bottom is, still further away? And I would probably be that guy. If it goes through 65 and goes down to 45 or something, I probably would be done buying at, 65, thinking this is it. We're never going to see this again. If it went down to 45, if it went down to 40, I'd be like, oh. I would be considering, liquidating other assets to buy Bitcoin, unless, it was a quantum threat and everything was over.
Yep. This is a quick change of topic, and then I want to get back onto this, but I just saw the comment from James William on Facebook, and I want to address that immediately. Good morning, gentlemen. Can I ask what exactly is a Flare token? Do I really need one? How do I acquire one if I do? A, you never need any cryptocurrency. B, the Flare token, I'm pretty sure that one's the scam, right?
No,
there's a legitimate token, but you're on the right track. Tell him about the scam, and we'll give you more detail.
Yeah, Alex, go for it. You'll remember better than me.
So first of all, Flare didn't do Flare didn't do anyone any favors by having awful PR and terrible timing. So the long story short is that Flare is a project in the vicinity of XRP, and it is used most commonly to launch fake replicas of it and then scam people into giving them their personal information to make them think that they now qualify for some sort of an airdrop. There was an airdrop. There is still technically something. They are technically, I think right now they're just finished the final claims, window qualification standard period thing, whatever. Anyway, just be really, 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 really careful about wherever you're getting information about Flare, because like I said, that token's most constant utility is grifting and scamming people. I made a genuine effort to like get some and then get on their protocol and like use it and try stuff. And it's just a horrendous experience. So I left. Godspeed. If you qualify for the airdrop, you will receive the airdrop. You do not need to like go connect something to somewhere and send someone something and upload some information or answer these 10 questions or give me your mother's maiden name and your social security number or something like that to qualify for it. So 9 times out of 10, if you see flare, just go the other way.
The claim window is actually, it's closed.
Did it just close?
The first claim window has been closed forever. So if they had another
forever, yeah, there was one, because I remember it was just this, the whole thing was freshly making the rounds like a week ago, and I was looking and there was like some dumb thing going on. But again, no PR, no communication from like the actual group, and then it was mostly just used to steal.
Yeah, what Raging Cajun says here is probably true. Flare is XRP's little brother, but has an extra chromosome, by which he means, it's different. I would tell you, you do not need to rush out and buy anything. Also in this same basket of common scams we see, especially on Facebook where you are. Anybody telling you need to back up your wallet to Web3? Anybody talking about QFS, the quantum financial system, the flip of the switch? And another one that's really common is airdrop scams generally. Flare is a popular one. Midnight's a popular one. They are legit tokens that had real airdrops, but probably if you hear about it on social media from some influencer telling you to take action now, it's a scam. But also trusts and LLCs. I can't tell you how many comments I get, especially over on Facebook. And especially that seem to target or come from people who are like in our age demographic, over 40, but even older, that say, secure your crypto in a trust or an LLC, get a crypto LLC, get a crypto trust, ask me how, follow my link. You need an LLC, you need a trust. You don't need a trust to own crypto. You don't need an LLC to own crypto. Most people don't need one. If you need a trust because you've got 12 businesses and live in 3 countries, then you probably should get one for your crypto. Pretty much everybody else, you're fine. Somebody is trying to scam you.
Yep.
Can we return to this conversation of buying? I'd really like to know what things everyone is eyeing, what you're buying. DeWoofy, several comments ago said, I am over leveraged AF. Then you got people like Jeff Rascal who are reconsidering their limit orders and going to set them. And folks who want to know, Evan, did you get your ETH? So let's do a round of what everybody bought. And I will just go first because I'll try and be concise and quick about it. I bought Turbo Soul. Our friends over at DeFi Carrot have the Turbo Soul product where you can get exposure to a leverage long position like Will just explained to us on Sol. Amplified Solana gains. And because they manage the position for you, it's got risk, but a lesser risk than somebody like me might take on if I'm, playing in a leveraged place and I don't want to sit at my computer all the time and I'm going to screw it up. So I bought some Turbo Soul over the weekend. I bought it in 4 different orders, starting at $116 per token. I bought again at 106, I bought again at 103, and I bought again at 102. I wish I could have bought when it dipped below 100 for a second, but I'm feeling like if it goes below 100, I will continue to be a buyer. I will probably set another buy order for any level under 100. I need to look at the chart again and just see how I think I feel about it. And then probably closer to 90. I also bought ETH when it hit 2,500 and again when it hit 2,300. I would buy again if it neared closer to 2,000, or just if it stayed down here, I might consider moving some funds. And I bought Uniswap just above $4 and have been considering adding a little of that position and also opening a Polygon position. But honestly, the thing that kept me from buying more, because I bought Sol and ETH pretty aggressively, and I bought those assets because I would feel more comfortable and more confident buying them at higher prices. But the thing for me is really I need to consider, now that we're in this moment of sliding price action, where do I think the bottom is? where will I feel comfortable buying those assets if something like Polygon goes down to 7 cents? Will I feel good buying it at 10 cents? And I don't know yet. So what about you guys? What are you buying? What are you eyeing? And I see the comments rolling in. We'll get to them in a second.
For me, I haven't really been buying anything. I mean, I have my daily my daily dollar cost average that goes into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, the big three. There's a coffee's amount. I drink black coffee, so it's cheap coffee. Yeah, but I buy a coffee's amount of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana every day. And guess what? I never buy. I never buy coffee. I just make it at home. So simple little hack that you hear as like financial advice when you're in high school and college, but like in practice, it's actually pretty nice. I also find that it just kind of balances my emotions, where it's like if I feel I don't have that emotional pull anymore, where it's like I gotta buy, because I'm like, oh, I am buying. It's small, but it's enough to kind of scratch that itch, and I don't have that emotional pull. So like I just do it honestly for that. And also I believe in dollar cost averaging and assets that I believe in long term. I have said before, and I'll say again, as soon as Bitcoin falls below $70,000, which I think is still happening, I personally have a call of Bitcoin to 63K, and I could totally see it dip below that as well, even into the mid-high 50s. But like 63K is generally my range. But Bitcoin below 70,000, I will then start buying 2 coffees a day of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. Because I think the best strategy for dollar cost averaging, if you're going to do it, is to either buy like once a week or once a month. For me, I do it daily. But have a point where you're just buying tiny bits so that when it's really low, in case it happens, you can increase it. And then wherever if price is down here in your daily average also, starts falling to, the point where, markets just have to recover enough. And then you're in the black, you're in profit. That really starts to catch up to current price. If you are in a position where you can start to increase the weight of your daily buy. What I'd be looking to buy with, the dry powder that I have set on the side, once I get a confirmed double bottom for me for Bitcoin, like a double bottom, a higher low, some kind of technical setup, I'd be looking at increasing Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. But also I like Syrup a lot from Maple Finance. I like Uniswap a lot. I maybe like Polygon a lot from a token standpoint, but they need that proposal to go through for me that opens up and turns on their revenue buyback policy. So the revenue buyback plus like the token burn, I'd be interested in Polygon. I'm also interested in Sky Protocol, and I'm still interested in Pengu, and also Hyperliquid. But I'll say this, I am not going to buy all those coins. I'm going to have like 5, maybe 6 coins, maybe. I'm going to keep it all to like one hand. And, in the meantime, I'm just trading the market, short-term leverage trading with my 5K challenge. And that's all I'm doing. Oh, and I have like a couple other trades that are open, but that's on gold.
Well, since I know you've actually got to go in a minute, some of the comments rolling in that I'd love to give you a chance to respond to are the Bitcoin price target. Folks saying, I think it could go as low as 58. I don't think it's going to touch 60 again. And also, if you have any advice for other people eyeing altcoin bags, people asking about everything from XRP to, I see Justin Kelly talking about looking for Tau, Pith, Ondo, and Injective. Words of wisdom or other final thoughts before you go?
Yeah, what I do. Oh, also, I got to add something to my list because it's not crypto, but it's Circle. Circle stock is still falling right now. And it's something I just keep watching. And again, I'm waiting to see like a confirmed bottom on Circle, but like Circle stock, I'm really interested in because I almost guarantee you Circle stock probably outperforms Bitcoin as soon as the cryptocurrency market starts rebounding. I almost guarantee you Circle stock outperforms, just like how MicroStrategy stock outperformed. And that's also another interesting one to watch is MicroStrategy very closely, simply just to see how much pressure is going to be put on them to maybe sell Bitcoin, but also if they're able to keep buying Bitcoin at the lows and then the market starts to rebound, I almost guarantee you MicroStrategy stock outperforms Bitcoin again as well. So that's something to keep an eye on. But for people who are looking to buy a bunch of cryptocurrencies, like I'm looking at this and that and that and this and this and that and that and this and that, 2 bits of advice. 1, when Bitcoin finds a bottom in a bear market, altcoins continue to do pretty crappy for the most part, for like months afterwards. it's like trying to turn around a cruise ship, right? It can't just turn on a dime. It's a slow, the bear market to bull market slow rolls that turn, right? And you'll have a few coins that are a little bit more like a speedboat that can turn things around quickly. But for the most part, they continue to sell off for quite some time. So you have a lot of time to be patient. The other thing that I'll say is don't pick coins because talking faces on the internet picked those coins. You can take a piece of paper, write down the coins you see us talking about, you see other people talking about, and then go and do some research on it and see if it makes sense if those are valuable to you. And then make a decision, because I almost guarantee you'll go through that list, you'll cross off 3/4 of them, and then you'll be stuck with a handful. And then you'll go, okay, which of these are my favorite? Do I really think are like cool and interesting and valuable and have a value proposition and have all the things that can make a crypto go up? And then pick those 2, 3, or 4. And there you go. And set yourself that homework to do for weeks, and then walk away with a list you feel confident in. So those are my 2 bits of advice.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And will we see you tonight for Market Watch?
I don't think I have friends and family on the mountain that I need to go see. So I don't think I'll be able to do it tonight. So we might want to move that to like Thursday again.
Okay. Market Watch, Thursday. Got it. Ladies and gentlemen, he's your friend and mine, Mr. Will Watson. Thank you, sir. Enjoy your time in snowy Maine.
Thanks.
Alex, what about you? Eddie in the comments says, I bet Alex bought Sol. Yep. And of course, some other comments rolling in. I wanted to read Haikanashi, 100% in meme coins in this market.
Godspeed.
Yeah. We've got lots of what about XRP. And I thought this gem from Matthew Malik over on the Arena was really helpful. Consolidate into your 4 or 5 best. And Rodney Amore says, I could listen to these guys all day. If you feel like that, then the good news is we've got other shows. We've got 4 days in a row, Rise Up morning show. We've got Rise Up After Dark, Wednesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. Central. Market Watch this week, Thursday, same time, 7 to 9 p.m. Central. And Trust Issues has a new time. Is that right, Alex? Tuesday nights, we're thinking, U.S.?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
What time?
I think we said we were going to do 7 or 7:30. 7:30. Yeah, it's basically as soon as Emily finishes her stuff for the day. So I'm thinking that we're going to do a 7:30 start just to give her an extra minute. 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
And I will have a calendar posted later today. I'll do it from the Blood Chair and let everybody know so that you can see, you can share the show. And of course, wherever you are, whenever you listen, if this show is too early for you, not at a good time, you can catch us on your favorite social. We record these. They live forever on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. And if all else fails, find us on your favorite social, RumsHQ, RUMSHQ.com. Thank you so much. Alex, what about you? Is Eddie right? Are you buying Sol? And are you buying anything
always.
else? What do you think?
Bitcoin. I'm currently not buying Ethereum just because I don't have that much like extra. So it's just going to Bitcoin. I just want more of, and we're inching closer and closer to my average, which is still about 58,000. And then Sol just because it still has the potential to, make its little waves, and I would like to capitalize on that. So I guess that's kind of where I was going to take it, was looking at all of these comments about who's buying what, who's got their eyes on what do we think, do we still have lower to go? Should I be patient? Should I buy stuff now? Obviously, nobody knows for sure. I personally believe, and this, I haven't changed my mind on this in a minute, that lower is almost inevitable. It would be really weird to me if we reversed from here, or even went down just a tiny little bitty bit more and then reversed. I wouldn't trust that at all. So as far as profit taking on volatile stuff, my time horizon is incredibly short. I'm not trusting anything, in the long term, which is why I'm pretty much just focused on the things that I am comfy with for years in case I miss it, So Solana is the sketchiest thing, just because I know that even if I do miss it, I'm not upset about keeping it. And that's really just a mark of how much money that chain makes. Because still, to this day, the last 24 hours, we're still over $1 million of chain revenue and $4 million of app revenue in the last 24 hours on Solana. So it's still cooking. There's still a ton of people doing a ton of stuff, making a ton of money there. So I feel good about it. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. I'm curious, though, if you have other things on your list that are kind of just like, more nascent altcoins, they don't really have anything significant going on for them. It's more of like a speculative bet. Whenever someone asks me like, hey, there was a comment about like Pith and a couple of other things in a little group.
Sure, Ton is in the comments here.
Ton, Tau, all that sort of stuff.
I said Paul. Paul is like number 85 on the top 100 list,
Yeah.
Which seems wild to think about.
You need to be able to articulate why you believe that token X, Y, or Z or whatever is going to return for you. If you are dart throwing at a board made up primarily of things that have done really well in years past, you really, really, really need to update yourself on what's going on with that particular token, what has changed, if anything has changed, why would it return? Because otherwise, what you're doing is taking a bet exclusively on the idea that at some point out of the millions of tokens that exist, something arbitrary is going to happen that will arbitrarily pump the price of this token for a very short amount of time, like a flash in the pan kind of thing. So first of all, 9 times out of 10, that never happens to like the token that you're looking at. And then 9 times out of that one time, you're not going to do anything about it when it does arbitrarily just do 700% in a day, sit there for 3 hours, and then start to bleed again, and then ultimately never recover. It's like a death rattle. So you really, really just need to be objective and rational about this kind of stuff. And if you can't sit down and look at every single asset that's on your portfolio and say, I am invested in this because whatever, it's going to return because this is going for it, it's doing that, it just did this, these users did that, it made that so much money, blah, blah, whatever. If you can't do that, you've made a bad investment. And you either need to go figure out the answers to those questions, or I genuinely think you need to reassess your position. And to be very honest with you, this is financial advice. If you don't understand the thing you're investing in, you're gonna have a bad time. And I don't know how else to say it. So, Evan, you mentioned Polygon. One of the reasons that we initially pursued them to work with them was because we were like, okay, hey, here is a category of tokens that is old, that's like done its thing, that, maybe it's had its time. These are the dinosaurs. Those things, if they can get their shit together, have a great potential to come back and do great things because they already have a big base of interest. There's already a bunch of people who are aware of it. They have less marketing to do. It's not quite as aggressive as a campaign that's like needed to run. And so there's like potential there, but only if the way that it gets rebuilt is like meaningful and actually turns into something. And so that's kind of why we have that one on probation, because like, hey, old, big user base, lots of excitement. People are wondering about whether or not it's going to wake up or not. There's a lot of things that inform it. Tons of
you
volume.
didn't say this, but they make lots of money. Like
they make a shitload of money
compared to other blockchain businesses, and honestly, compared to businesses, they're doing good.
They make a ton of money. There's a bunch of customers. They have an interesting thing. Here's an interesting metric for blockchain success measuring too. How many users do they have that are using products on that ecosystem or on those rails that are not necessarily crypto people or are not necessarily like just trading or using some sort of a DEX? And the Ethereum ecosystem is probably about the only example of that at any sort of reasonable scale. And Polygon is definitely included in that. Honestly, I don't even think Solana is in that category in the same way. I think they're making pretty significant strides there for that very reason, which is, again, what informs my conviction there. But I'm trying to think of like a different way to say it more simply, because that was a lot of words, but you got to be able to explain to someone who doesn't know what's going on why you're invested in the things you're invested in.
I'd like to take that a step further. I'm really glad you brought it here. This is something I wanted to talk about, which is it is not all research is created equal. I think a lot of people will hear what you say and say, Alex, you're so right. That's why I read the white paper first. That's why I only invest in projects that have utility. That's why I only invest in projects that have a roadmap. That's why I only invest in projects where I can get in early on the pre-sale. All of those are red flags to me, and I'm sure to you. So let's go even deeper and like say it even clearer. Everybody has these signals of credibility. Everybody tells you in their press release that they're going to bank the unbanked, that they've got a partnership with Visa, with MasterCard, with Amazon. Everybody in their white paper tells you that their blockchain is the fastest, is the cheapest, is the easiest to use, has been, in partnerships that are pilots with so-and-so. So Alex, what are sources of truth that people who hear those claims can look at to start to evaluate them? Because I would say more people lose money investing in utility and roadmaps and white papers because they don't know how to tell. They're not blockchain literate, and they don't know like what metrics matter when
That's a
assessing
good question.
companies.
So the beautiful part about the fact that all of these are blockchains or blockchain adjacent is that you should have open source methods and ways that you can verify information. So you don't have to take their word for it. And if someone is asking you to take their word for something, you should be skeptical of that. And so you can use a website like DeFi Llama. We talk about it all the time. But there's a ton. DApp Radar, RIP.
Man.
I mean, Crunchbase is really paywalled almost everything on their website. Dude, that whole thing used to be free.
Dune is
Dune
not very
great.
user-friendly, but is really good and will be better in the future. Alex, do you ever use Artemis?
Yeah, sometimes. Not as much, though. I mean, I pretty much just stick to the llama for everything. But the point of this is just to say that there are tons of websites that catalog on-chain data and present it to you. And then we'll link you to the thing on-chain where you could then go verify it. It's not that that's the easiest research to do, but it's much better than reading a press release. So, if you're looking at a company like Hedera, or you're looking at a company like Ripple, you have to take the company's word for something, which means that you need to decide how much do you trust a company to tell you, honest information. And then you have to ask, okay, well, how readily available is a company going to make information that would sway investors to lose faith? They're not, which is why every press release you read from Ripple sounds like they're about to take over the world. Versus,
or their Amazon partner page. Have you ever seen that? Like the Amazon page they have?
I can honestly say, no, I have not seen that.
Yeah, it's terrible.
But, in contrast to that, look at Ethereum. Sometimes you read incredibly bullish and exciting things about Ethereum, and sometimes you read horrendously terrifying things about Ethereum. I don't know, what's an example? One example would be how much revenue every app on Ethereum's chain has made in the last how many hours. All of it is verifiable by open source methods that you can check yourself if you want to. But then on the other hand, ETH is still kind of combating centralization accusations based on some of their tech. What's that company called, Evan, that's like involved with, oh my God, does it start Infura?
Yeah.
So, between AWS and Infura, a lot of critical Ethereum infrastructure is housed in some centralized places, even if what it is doing is like keeping track of or managing decentralized things. The fact that, backups are consolidated to smaller areas is a little nerve-wracking. And so, there's a ton of information about that. If you can't find bad information or like sketchy things or things that should give you pause or like raise your hackles a little bit about something, you're being lied to. And if the only place that you can get information about a project that you're interested in are press releases written by that project, you should be very skeptical of those, and you should not trust those inherently to inform your conviction, because their only incentive is to get you to buy more of their asset. So someone asked about Polkadot earlier. That's a great example. because it falls into this category of thing that was old, that's been around for a long time, that has a lot of people that are interested, that has a lot of people who are invested in it. All of those people are underwater. And the team itself is doing almost nothing to like recapture or improve or, you know, fix perception or anything like that. And all of that is verifiable by yourself. You can go look up all that kind of stuff. We could pull it up right now and look at, and I gotta scroll like way back to look at how much money that ecosystem is making, or how much volume there is, or how many people are doing stuff. I mean, geez. DeFi Llama literally has TVL recorded at 0 for Polkadot. There's like almost nothing going on. Anchor's got some stuff there. 21Co has like a bridge with nothing going on it. Total stablecoin market cap, dude, the price of DOT is under $2. That was like what, $55 to $60, not, you know, a few years ago. And that thing is still worth $2.5 billion. So these are all things that you could look up by yourself, you know, and then use that to inform your conviction. I don't know, man. It's just...
I got a couple more for you.
Okay.
I want to add to this. I mentioned Artemis, and you didn't have this. Artemis is a name you need to know, and I can't find the freaking screen share. My computer's like, this website's not safe, and I'm like, punk, I go there all the time. So pardon me for that. But just remember Artemis, Artemis. And specifically a report I would encourage you to look up is the Stablecoins from the Ground Up report. Their whole job is to do crypto research and then to cite their sources. So you can go further and find the actual on-chain data that proves a thing. They're independent, like they are not produced by Ripple or produced by Hedera or anything like that. Another good one is Messari, Messari. Messari and Artemis both produce really good annual reports and a variety of like quarterly, weekly, that kind of thing around a ton of different topics. Another one is Dune. I mentioned it earlier. Dune, like the great novel. Dune.com. This is an interface where anybody can host a dashboard that pulls from certain publicly available or on-chain, meaning on a blockchain APIs, and then present it to you in a readable way. It's kind of like Microsoft Excel in the sense that if you want to use it well, you got to know a little wizardry, but it's not too technical that you couldn't learn to navigate it. I think that is a great starting point in addition to DeFi Llama that Alex mentioned, but the best tip I can give you is you need to be in a room of crypto users, and not every crypto user is going to be blockchain literate. I am not a technical expert, but I'm super literate because I know a lot of technical experts and I can get in touch with good on-chain information. But most people I would see, I see it on YouTube or Facebook or something, are just kind of, I don't know, they're chartists. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We got a lot of good chartists in the audience. But having an understanding of like what makes a business fundamentally valuable, why you might go buy Apple stock, because they sold a lot of computers this year, because Tim Cook has been on CNN and CNBC, and because he and Bill Gates, whatever. Like those are fundamental reasons, because their supply chain is stronger than Microsoft's, whatever you want to say. Those are the kind of things that should move you to invest, not because they had $1 million that they raised from venture capitalists to get their name in front of you. Alex, what are we looking at here?
I've seen people throw out a couple of different names. So I was going to say, we can just do a quick example of how you can look up at least something to kind of, you know, get yourself started here. So this is the DeFi Llama homepage. And the way that they work is that they catalog, I like this one the best because everything is free. You don't even need to make an account to sign in and do anything.
Yeah, like Leif mentioned Nansen, which is so expensive now. Yeah. It was great, but, you know.
Yeah, Nansen, I mean, there's a bunch that are really, really good, but, you know, they're paywalling everything. So, you know, someone asked about Cardano, and that's an interesting one because it falls into the same category that that stuff like Polkadot, like Polygon, like Avalanche, things that have been around for a while that had a bunch of fans. People were very interested in what they were doing. They had a crazy run up. At one point, the tokens were very valuable. There was a lot of hype and excitement, and then, you know, effectively nothing materialized. So you've got like this interesting phenomenon in crypto wherein a company can start and get everyone all riled up and then ultimately accomplish nothing but keep people kind of baited and hooked because they're invested. And then you have to sort of grapple with this, you know, really unfortunate dilemma wherein perhaps you invested in something that went out of business, but things in crypto don't really go out of business the same way that companies do. If a company went out of business, they would shut down. You couldn't go into the store anymore. and it would become much harder to interact with that thing. You know, it's a lot harder to go shopping at Kmart now than it is to buy ICP, even though both of those things effectively are in the same position. So that's an interesting thing. And it honestly, you know, if you really want to talk about some way that like consumer protection could be enhanced, there would be like some sort of methodology for, you know, tracking like when blockchain projects effectively go out of business. So Cardano is interesting because they still have a very public facing, very active, very vocal proponent in their founder, Charles Hoskinson. Which, by the way, funny aside, Evan, have you ever seen someone talk about Charles on a stream and just pronounce his name correctly?
How is his name correctly pronounced? Hoskinson, isn't it?
It is Hoskinson, yes. But my meme, the meme that like just keeps me up at night, is the fact that every time people who are like have been here since before Cardano was even founded, Charles Hawkins, Charles Hoskins,
Hodgkins.
Charles Hawkinsons, Charles Hodgkinsons.
Even people like, introducing him professionally.
Yeah, dude, it's not hard. Can you read? Good Lord. Anyway, so he's very polarizing. He's very public facing and he's very vocal. And he's made attempts to like revitalize the chain, but he really just, the only thing in Cardano right now that is happening is Charles PR. It's like Charles making waves and doing stuff and getting people fired up and going on a live stream or doing an interview or whatever. And Charles,
did you see that recent tweet where he was like, he did a thing. I'm going all in. I'm selling my Black Hawk helicopter, my private jet, my Lamborghinis or whatever. I'm just going all. I'm liquidating my lifestyle to go max. Basically.
I didn't see that, but bearish. So, you know, so that's what you have going for you there. But as you can see here, let's switch this TVL over to TVL in ADA.
And for people in podcast land, if you want to see this, just go to DeFiLlama.com and search Cardano. The screen Alex is looking at will come right up.
Yep. So, you know, over here, you have this kind of gathering of information that is just pulled directly from the chain. And remember, Cardano boasts about its decentralization and its open sourceness. So, you know, if we take them at their word, this is as verifiable as it gets. There's nothing happening.
Zoom in on a couple of these that particularly trouble you.
Okay, so the total market cap for ADA for Cardano is 10.8 billion with a B dollars, and their fully diluted valuation, meaning what the market cap would be if all of the tokens were out in circulation, is over 13 billion. And yet the chain itself has made only $5,300 in revenue in the past 24 hours. And if you were to annualize that, it's not even in the ballpark of what I would call a gross overvaluation of their company. So you have a company here that is doing nothing, that produces very little, that almost no users exist on, that no one is building a rich DeFi ecosystem or doing anything. There's no like, whenever anyone like online does a reveal about this crazy way that they're farming all these different yields and they're using all these different protocols and they're looping here and staking here and blah, 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 whatever. I've never seen one written about Cardano, and I probably never will. And that is evidenced right here. They make no money. The DEX volume is unbelievably low. They've raised a tremendous amount of money. They have more, I mean, there's still like a little bit of NFT volume, I guess. Interesting.
A little bit, yeah. $23,000.
Chain fees here.
Volume is so easy to fake, though, and there's such a strong incentive to do it. Like to set up an algorithm. If I was Charles and I just had $1 million I wanted to spoof stuff with, I could set up 10 different wallets, or even a bot that spins up new wallets and goes between an exchange account that I control or something.
Yeah.
Did you see Justin Sun's girlfriend's tweets?
Yes, I did. And then I saw CoffeeZilla say, hey, I'm very interested in talking to you. Please reach out.
Yeah, basically accusing the founder of Tron, dubious figure in crypto, of doing just that, of having like all these wallets that he holds Tron in, and he would actively manipulate the Tron price on Binance specifically.
Well, and to be fair, she was more like confirming. That has been, we've all known that for years. Yeah, no one is surprised that like Justin Sun and Tron are like shady. But yeah, so I mean, this is just that one example. I saw a comment. Am I saying that ICP is dead? Kinda. Let's pull it up.
Oh no! And hey, after this, I want to see you pull up InkChain, because Magic was saying, "Have you seen the TVL on InkChain?" I'm curious to know if it's good or bad. So okay.
Yeah, we'll pull it up. I have no idea.
Oh, ICP.
So this
is another one in the file of it died a long time ago.
Yep.
But the heart is still beating.
Here's ICP. Same thing. They've made a couple grand a day. DEX volume is less than $500,000. Chain revenue
zoom
is
on that
very small.
For my old eyes. Bless you.
And yet their market cap is over $1 billion. So, yes, nothing's happening. Am I saying it's dead? Theoretically, it could come back. Like this is what I'm saying. The caveat to all of this is that, like, yes, you can look at an old cryptocurrency that is now, still is attached to an ecosystem that's doing nothing. It is theoretically possible that it comes back. What I'm telling you is that there is no real reason for that to happen. Effectively, what would need to happen, if I were to paint you a picture of what would be required in a perfect scenario, for an ecosystem like this to become revitalized, you would need to have a bunch of people, or at least a few people who are prepared to build and run a protocol that's good enough and well known enough to attract a bunch of users to come in and start allowing them to generate revenue and become profitable, so that they can encourage more builders to come in and build stuff. And then all the while, a significant marketing effort is going on to attract new users and convince people that it's not dead and that they should give it another chance and come back in. You need this like perfect storm of contributing efforts from builders and users and the team to make it all happen, to just appear here when there's no incentive to do that. Because if anyone was like, I have a great idea for a killer DeFi protocol, you were like, okay, cool. Where are you thinking of building it? And you told me anything other than Ethereum or its ecosystem, Solana, or a brand new blockchain that just came out that has a big grants program that's like got the public eye and has the attention and whatever, I would say that you are making a mistake. You are making a poor business decision to go in and build somewhere where there are no users, there is no incentive, there is currently no revenue, there's no volume, there's no action. Why would you go do that? It's like...
Hang on. Exceptions. If you are an enterprise grade company and you are friends with Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and you don't want anybody seeing your private data, I'd say, have you considered Hedera? Also, I would add to that list, if you were like trying to tokenize a bunch of real estate, or you had a friend at Blackstone or something like that, and they had a portfolio of assets and they wanted to bring them on blockchain but didn't know how, I'd say you should talk to the folks at Ondo, and then also look up Securitize. They're friends with the Ethereum Foundation. You know what I mean? Like, there are niche examples. But most of the time, for everybody asking us, you're right, 100%. So I'm going to give you this.
Okay. No, that's a very good point. But see, what are you counting on in that instance? You're counting on a gigantic company that has already made it by itself, deciding to park things that already exist somewhere, and then hopefully that would be like enough to inspire other people to then go and either do the same thing or then try to build something there. So again, perfect storm, because what you're hoping for is a gigantic company that's already made it to throw a dart at a board full of dead blockchains and hope that they land on your favorite one.
Can I really quickly address a question in the comments that's related?
Please.
About why then is there so much activity around these dead chains? For example, somebody pointed out the APYs on staking or locking up Cardano or Polkadot are very high. Somebody just listed a Polkadot ETF. The reason is because it is profitable for some people, but not for others. Imagine this. Imagine you're Cardano, okay? And what do you have? You don't have much DeFi TVL. You don't have much usable stuff. What do you need? You need developers to build there, and you need consumers to trade their stable coins, their Bitcoin, their other valuable currencies for your currency. What do you have? Tokens. You got tokens. And you want people to think your tokens are valuable. So what do? Instead of offering 2% APY, you say, you know what? I need that money. I need people to think I'm relevant. I'm going to do 6% APY because that's better than ETH. And so people will come stake with me to get my token. Doesn't cost me anything necessarily. Sure, I'm giving up a token, but they're giving me dollars. Ha ha! That's what they want. They're giving me attention. That's what they want. If I'm launching a Polkadot ETF, it's because I know a bunch of people on Facebook are saying, oh my God, should I buy Polkadot? And I can make money on the fees whether the price of Polkadot goes up or down. That doesn't matter. They are selling a different product. You are the customer. Like you are the one that's being traded.
By saying insider trading.
Insider trading. It seems like
it's very easy to manipulate the price of an asset like that has nothing going for it except whatever you are about to do to it. So if that's the case, then like Evan said, you can manipulate a group of people into becoming a revenue engine on something that is dead, using a dead asset because it's still there. Like, but this is the equivalent of like walking into an old, like abandoned Kmart, like you broke in and walked in and pried the drawer to a cash register open and just put your money in it and then like left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or you're paying a subscription fee to a website that is no longer hosted. Netflix is
or they're going to pay you. Yeah, they're going to pay you. We don't have any more content. Netflix loses all their deals. They don't have any TV shows, but they'll pay you to have a subscription. What are you going to do with it? Nothing.
So there was a question, Coinbase has ADA staking on Coinbase at 1.5%. Not great, but how do they pay for that? Because the chain is still generating yield on native stake. So you can keep doing that. It's a false positive of ecosystem health to say that just because this proof of stake thing still exists and I can stake it and I'm earning yield technically, that it exists. That's the only thing you can do for it. So it's like, hey, you can buy this asset that is constantly depreciating and I'll give you more of it to not get rid of it. That's also constantly depreciating. And you can't do anything else with it. If the only thing I can do with an ecosystem token is hold it and use it to get more of the ecosystem token, but there's nothing else that I need to use it for, then basically what's missing from this whole equation is demand. There's no reason for what I am now getting to become worth more because no one else is actively seeking it. The last 5 or 6 times that I've purchased Ethereum's native cryptocurrency, is because I needed it. I didn't look at the price. I didn't get very much of it. I just bought, like $10 of it, $20 of it, whatever, because I needed to use it. There's demand. I was like, hey, there's a thing I need to use. I need to get this thing so that I can use it. Boom, done. There we go. You got to watch out for that. In the age old, the best bumper sticker for all of this is if you can't figure out where the profit comes from, it's coming from you. If you don't know why anything would make money, the only reason it's going to make money is if you give it to them. And at this point, most of these things are only still here because they've managed to swindle a big enough crowd to continually buy it or trade it. But that's the only thing happening. And no time is that more prevalent than in like bear markets that are deepening or continuing to be bearish.
Let me touch one more thing on this too, because a lot of questions are coming in about specific assets that people are down on. I see Dashcam Eddie talking about buying Snake a couple years ago and it's down 80%. I saw Jeff Rascal talking about a position he's down 40% on. So let's assume, just for everybody watching, it doesn't matter what the asset is, but you're a little nervous watching Alex talk about this, and you invested, let's say, $1,000 in ICP or SNEC 2 years ago. $1,000. You're down 50%, let's say. Okay, your position today is worth $500. We'll split the difference. That $500 is the only thing that matters right now. The $1,000 you invested is gone either way, okay? Let's be generous. You're going to hold Snake or ICP and say it doubles from here. That would be a huge win. It would be huge, okay? That means, though, that you waited, let's say, 2 years. You took really high risk just to barely beat your original $1,000. You broke even if it doubles from here. 500 to 1,000, you broke even. You waited 2 years to break even. And that assumes that it actually is going to outperform the market, which is not only uncertain, it's unlikely, okay? So let's take path B. Now you take that same $500, but you move it to Bitcoin, okay? Scenario 1. Bitcoin over the next 4 years goes up 2x from 77,000 to 145,000, 150,000. Doesn't seem so bad to me. Does that seem unrealistic to you, Alex? Bitcoin to 150,000 in 4 years?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Does a 2x over the next cycle. Same result already without needing to massively outperform somebody's expectations is pretty reasonable. Scenario 2, which is actually historically more realistic, is that Bitcoin does a 3x from here and your 500 becomes 1,500. Now you're just not getting back even. You're ahead. So this is the thing. Not selling doesn't mean you're avoiding the loss. It's choosing to keep betting on SNEC or ICP or whatever over the more likely thing, whether that's Bitcoin or gold or something else, every single day. If you had, the question you should ask is not, should I keep holding? It's, if I had, whatever amount of money in cash today, would I buy thing 1 or thing 2? Would I buy ICP or would I buy Bitcoin? It's not about getting back to where you were. It's about putting what you have left where it has the highest probability of growing. I hope that helps. Sell that snake, man. Sell that snake.
Yeah, and it's tough too, because like we keep saying, it is possible for a dead crypto to pump. The point that I really want everyone to take away from all this is to be honest and critical about what it is that it would take for that to happen. And if it's a random lightning strike that it would take for something to pump, but it is still possible, then yeah, sure, there you go. If it's like, the culmination of a bunch of things kind of finally converging into what is required to succeed. Someone asked about Jupiter, or mentioned Jupiter, I should say, as being like a top 10 eventually. Honestly, more likely than any of the other major ecosystems we just talked about. Why? Because Jupiter makes an unbelievable amount of money. Because they have like a token mechanism that makes sense. They have a bunch of holders. People use it. They have an active group of people doing stuff with Jupiter. Jupiter is constantly adding more shit to their protocol, to their dApp, to all of their offerings and services. And you can do so much stuff over there. And it's continuing to grow. They keep getting more users. They keep passing proposals. And they keep making money. It's not incredible by any company standards. They're doing what businesses are supposed to do. The difference with them and the rest of crypto is that they're succeeding at it. So yeah, sure, that token makes way more sense. Even just as a speculation, because of all those things that it has going for it. Because you're not only hoping that for some random reason lightning strikes and this thing goes up by a bit. It's like, okay, yeah, that would make sense. If Jupiter started to perform well, it would make sense because of what they have accomplished and what they're doing. So, and actually here's a great example of something else you can do on DeFi Llama. Jupiter, Radium, or OKX. You could pull up every single one of those and get the full list and compare them all like raw data to raw data.
Yeah, anybody asking about a token right now, this is the challenge. We are not going to tell you, is it good or is it bad? Your homework, if you want to make money in crypto, I'm telling you what to do right now. This is the easiest advice you're ever going to get from anybody on social media. Go to the website Alex showed you, DeFi Llama, and look up on the search bar at the top that token in question. And then you come back based on this Kmart lesson of, is that company gonna make money tomorrow or not? Is it an actual valuable company? Is it a real product or service? You tell us. Do a little book report. It can be one sentence. Ondo is still a viable investment for me. They have customers, they have money. Or ICP, even though it is cheap, is not a good investment for me because nobody uses it. That is your homework. That's the comment I want to see. And if you need help with that, then the place you got to go is community.rums, RUMS, HQ DCA-ing.com. Okay, we can help you there. I love the conversation that's happening in the comments. Solom Spartan said, my best investment is the time I spend with the Rise Up community. And I see Bearded, I see Jeff Rascal talking back and forth in the comments about how to rescue an underwater position. If that's you and you want to figure it out, do your homework, go to DeFi Llama, share with us what you find in the community, and then come back and keep learning, and you will make money. Alex, I'm realizing it's about that time we have to start thinking about gathering our dogs and ponies to ride them off into the sunset, or maybe do something more humane with them, like release the groundhogs. But before we do, can you look at ink just to see it? Because I want to have a reaction to it, because I'm curious if it's, investable or whatever, and because I do love Magic. Magic is another great community member who makes our show work. You guys are the very best part of what we do, and he has been killing it. He's been very active in DeFi, in Sui, which I kind of thought was a little dead, but a lot of people in the comments and in our community seem to pay attention to it. So maybe worth a second look on the DeFi Llama myself. What do you see on ink when you look over there? Let's see. Hold tight. I'm coming with a screen share. Ooh, it looks like it's going up and to the right for people in podcast land. The direction I like to see.
Well, so this is TVL measured in dollars. I don't have the option to measure it in anything else, which I wish that I could, because I don't like TVL in dollars. I mean, immediately the thing that jumps out to me is that they have more 24-hour app revenue than all of Cardano, all of Polkadot, and all of whatever that other one we just looked at combined, their entire ecosystem. So that's something.
And Ink is a layer 2, so it's built on top of the Ethereum network. It's competitive with Arbitrum or Base, and Base might be the best example of a direct competitor because it is incubated by Kraken, the way Base is incubated by Coinbase, to be sort of their on-chain play.
It's interesting. So one thing to note about Ink is that, and this has always kind of puzzled me, they don't advertise market, and Kraken, like big Kraken, almost never talks about it in a way that's like meant to really do or incentivize anyone to do anything with. Like that's always puzzled me because it's not new. It's been around for a second, and if you come down here and like look at the protocols that incorporate it, there's actually quite a few, but as you can see, absolutely nothing is happening on any of them with anything. Like, Uniswap has included it, but there is nothing that's happened in the past 24 hours using Ink on Uniswap.
Yeah, that concerns me, that all that comes from one protocol. Like, the numbers look better than Cardano, but I would see that and I would be like,
NATO is.
Yeah, honestly, the takeaway from this for me would be like, I better check out what NATO's doing. Oh man, interesting. Got to have a VPN on.
So it's geo-locked. It's a wait list. I mean, okay. So I'm not even.
But they're already
anything.
doing volume, so somebody is there. Spots, perps, and money markets all in one clob DEX. So they're a level 2 play appealing to crypto insiders who already know what a clob DEX is or how to use one. And it looks like they're really leaning into this like black and white rave culture, privacy aesthetic. Kind of the move. It is stylish, but it looks gate-kept.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have the option to get in there and do anything, even if I wanted to. So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a single reason to pay attention to Ink yet, except for the fact that I am so curious about why they haven't like turned the jets on. Because, like Evan said, their most applicable direct competitor would be Base. And if we go back over here to the Llama and compare what we just looked at to the Base ecosystem, which is, the 5th biggest, Base is sitting on $4.25 billion of TVL. If we measure that in ETH, it is a historic uptrend since it launched in 2023. It has been almost exclusively up and to the right. They have billions of dollars of stablecoins sitting there. They are generating themselves nearly $1 million in chain revenue, and app revenue is almost 2 million. So they're like approaching Solana revenue numbers. Tremendous amounts of fees generated by apps, which is of course indicative of how expensive it actually is to use Base. There's a little tidbit for you.
And look at some of those apps.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like there, and then you come down here to
Farcaster
this.
though is number one. I'm surprised at that since they turned the wallets on. That's impressive to me.
And the thing that's interesting is that we know that a significant amount of this is because of Coinbase's heft, but Kraken's not like a small business. You know, while Coinbase does make more money than they do, Kraken still is a, you know, multi-billion dollars in revenue generating company per year. And they absolutely could juice Inc. the same way that Coinbase juiced Base. Like you, Evan, I'm sure you remember back in the day when Base was, you know, getting off the ground and pushing. Coinbase basically injected like $10 billion to their TVL to juice the ecosystem. Kraken hasn't done that. And that is what's really interesting to me, is that it exists. And like we've been lightly reached out to by teams in and around Inc. for marketing before. We've never done anything with them. But I don't know. It's a really interesting one to me because it's effectively doing nothing, and that puzzles me, given that they have, you know, this, you know, 800-pound gorilla in the room that could choose to, you know, catapult them and isn't right now. So that's interesting to me.
We're working on getting Mark on the show. You're talking to Mike.
Yeah. Notably, these are people.
Will
from
is
Kraken,
in the
not from
DMs
Inc.
with. That's right. Will is in the DMs with Bruce from customer service. So honestly, I'm feeling pretty bullish.
Yeah.
Bruce, are you out there, man? Are you working today? I'm calling you, dude. We got to find out what's going on.
In answer to this question, Inc. is not a Kraken layer 2. It's an ETH layer 2 built by Kraken. Kraken made it, but it's an ETH layer 2.
And a good way to think about this, like, you know, if blockchains are like cities, you might compare Ethereum to New York or whatever. A measure of how great a city is like, what's the quality of life there? How do businesses who launch in the city do? And if the answer is, well, there's only one business in my city, then your city's probably not that great. It's probably difficult to invest in. But if your city is a metropolis where people want to come start clubs and social businesses and banks and all kinds of things, that to me is a signal that, like, you're on the up or you're happening right now. It's a place to invest. There are a couple questions I want to touch on the way out the door. Pre-sales, almost as a rule, not worth it. You can miss them. I can't tell you the last time I lost any sleep because someone said, oh my God, there's a pre-sale. You're going to be early. And I wasn't. I wasn't in it. I wasn't early. And in fact, I have made way more money in crypto when I stopped paying attention to those things and especially stopped paying money to them. They're almost always another example of a product where you are the exit liquidity. They are advertising to you to get you to fund them. And the burden of it. So, you know, Blockdag, I don't care what it is. It's going to promise great technology. It's going to be early. You get on a wait list. There might be phases to the pre-sale. Don't do that. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. Don't care what it is. I want to see users, results, actual stuff before I give anybody my money.
I want to highlight a comment from Leif. Said, you know, I imagine this like in Fast and the Furious, you know, where it's Coinbase versus Kraken and Coinbase hit the NOS too soon. I think that's actually kind of a dangerous comparison to make because I see it in crypto all the time and it's 99%. I'm not saying that this is why you just said it. I'm just saying that in general, that exact language, I've heard it a billion times and it's always used by someone trying to sell me a pile of trash and tell me like, no, bro, at some point they're going to tell people that it exists. And then it's going to be huge. No, they're not. It's Coinbase and Base are also just incredibly unlikely to falter. You know, why is Base doing so well? Because of Coinbase. Because Coinbase is gigantic. It's possible that Coinbase suffers some sort of catastrophic event. And by proximity, Base then also suffers. Because that's kind of, again, what you're counting on. However, if we just take stock of what's happening, and this is not an endorsement of Coinbase because I honestly, I'm getting more and more and more disenfranchised literally every eating from
Alex?
it. I don't know what just happened.
Sorry. I lost you for a second. We're good. We're with you.
I don't know where I cut out. But
You are disenfranchised by Coinbase every second.
Yeah, they're not improving in my eyes. They are constantly getting worse. But, if I'm being objective, if I take my own advice, their CEO is effectively running Congress right now, as far as crypto policy goes. His opinion is about the only opinion on the Hill that matters, as far as what legislation is going to even get a vote, let alone pass. So there's that. He owns a majority share in a publicly traded company. So his exclusive incentive to keep his wealth is to make Coinbase perform as a company. By proximity, his angle into getting endeared in the crypto community is to make sure that Base continues to do well. Base markets. Base has builders. There are people doing stuff that you can like them or hate them. I'm just saying objective fact. There's like people doing stuff there. They make a ton of money because their fees are pretty high, because it costs a lot of money to use Base. Not in gas. They get you all the time with this. Gas is cheap, and if you stay heavily ingrained in the Coinbase ecosystem, you can do some free stuff on Base. But like in general, oh my God, bridging in and out of it, expensive. Transfers in and out of it, expensive. Deposits, withdrawals, cash outs, expensive. There's a tremendous amount of screenshots all over Twitter of people like doing things with Base and then taking a screenshot of the fee that gets captured and be like, what is this? It's like exponentially higher than ETH gas. So they make a ton of money, and it's a dangerous comparison to fall into, to say like, well, eventually something is going to turn on the jets. Eventually, but that's like saying, I don't know. It's the only reason that you don't market in crypto is because you don't know how. And if you knew how, you'd be doing it. There is no reason to like wait to drop or reveal good information. If a company has good information about things that would make people excited about it, that would increase the investability of the asset or get people to use the token or buy it or whatever, they're going to tell you. They're not going to like keep it close to the vest and wait for an arbitrary number of years and then turn on the jets later. That's a scam. That's why Inc. is so puzzling to me, because you can't even say that it could be a scam. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like they made it and then put it in the closet and then forgot it existed. And I'm so nosy. One of the biggest reasons I want to talk to Kraken is literally just to be like, why? Can someone please explain to me what the plan is with Inc.? Because we met them. We met them in East Denver last year. They had a booth there, and I was like, please come on the show and tell someone why you exist. And they were like, no. And it's like, what are you doing here at this table? What's the point of this booth here? How much money did you pay for this table right here in the middle of the conference floor?
Yeah. An expensive
Tens of thousands
table.
of dollars they paid for that
Very
table.
Expensive.
Why?
Well, you're going to get a chance to ask him soon.
Goddamn right.
Here's what's going on. We got to shut down the show, so I'm coming to you for a final thought. I have got a couple final thoughts for you. The first is that if you're into it, man, there's going to be a heated meeting at the White House where I'm sure CEO Brian Armstrong will be representing the crypto industry, weighing in at 175 pounds, something like that.
Can't wait. It's going to be amazing.
Against the big banks. I can't tell the difference when I look at them. I have to have somebody, write bank and crypto company in the picture of the people who are meeting at the White House today. But I digress. We appreciate them for representing us and hope, since he's got the ear of everybody else, he can get the ear of the president and maybe get us some stablecoin yields, among other things. I also want to invite you to check out, once again, the Rise Up community. If we didn't answer your question, if you're not sure how to go to that website that Alex was sharing with you earlier, then you should just remember one site. I'm talking about community.rumshq.com. It's the place our show lives 24/7. And something you can do to help us that costs nothing, that will make the show better, is to do a little search when you get there for the Rise Up viewer survey. Tori put it together. It takes about 2 minutes to complete, and it helps us let sponsor companies know the cost savings, the value adds, the opportunity to be on a show like ours, on a platform like ours, where all of you tune in to watch. We have thousands of people in every episode across social media, and most of us are users at all levels of experience. You got folks like DeWoofy, who is working here, Rudo, Mike over at Coinbase, and then you got folks like Joe, who Coinbase hates to see coming because she's a business owner, a mom, a grandma, who is just wanting to know how to make crypto work for everyday people and everybody in between. There is somebody just like you there. There is somebody different from you there, and it's a great place to be. We believe the next billion users are the people who watch our show in our audience, and we would love, if you're a crypto company, to introduce you to them, unless you're a scammer. So fill that out. Help us reach those sponsors who want to tell a better story, and then come back tomorrow. I actually, in light of talking about Will's $5,000 challenge and what we're buying lately, I am more worried than ever about security. These are essentially bearer assets. We're becoming our own banks, and there's absolutely no reason anybody here should be walking around with access to money you'd be afraid to lose on your person, on your cell phone. So I have an article from Kevin Owocki that I want to expand on, the founder of Gitcoin, who says, don't make your crypto easy to access. Optimize for duress. If somebody brought a wrench to your house right now, they shouldn't be able to get you to move crypto easily. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Don't leave a treasure map to where your valuables are stored. And of course, we're going to be at East Denver. Denver, Colorado. February 15th is when I arrive. I think Will is getting there that day. Alex is getting there the 17th, I do believe. Through the 21st, we would love to see you there. ETH Denver is a totally free conference, and one of the best ways to experience crypto community in real life is at a conference like that. Plus, they're going to stream all the talks. You can hear from Vitalik and other folks. And we'd just love to see you there. That's my final thoughts. I see you answering questions, and I'm going to give you the chance to do it on the way out the door. Do you have, Alex, a last-minute question to answer?
Yeah.
Or another final thought?
There was a question about what do I think about buyback and burn as a mechanic.
Yeah.
So mechanically speaking, it completely depends on the context. If some random nonsense, like if DOT decided that it was going to try to become relevant by doing a treasury buyback and burn, I wouldn't care about it at all, because the only good thing that could possibly come from it is a short-term flash in the pan price hike that would help someone who's paying close attention exit quickly with at least some shred of some kind of dignity. If a protocol that is generating a ton of revenue and has a bunch of users is now trying to then enhance the investability of a token by making it more scarce after they've already gotten demand inspired and volume is happening and all that sort of stuff, I'm much more interested in it. As a piece of a larger goulash of like investability on an asset, interested. By itself in a vacuum, with the context being this is currently the only thing happening, and we're trying to use it to manipulate you into thinking that this bullshit asset is about to become scarcer, so then it will be scarce bullshit, it's still going to be bullshit. So the context is everything. There was a comment about like trusting the overall vision of a project and a team. Sure, that's great. That worked 6 years ago. We've moved past flashy brochures now. There are too many companies and too many projects and protocols that are making a bunch of money, that have users that are doing stuff, that are moving and grooving and getting things accomplished, for you to sell me exclusively with a good looking brochure. I don't care anymore. Your vision is great. And plus, every vision is the same. Like, nothing is original. And then finally...
really quickly, before you move on, the comment from Satoshi is, they can reverse burn. Chronos. Crypto.com did it.
Yeah,
Not your
exactly.
keys.
Yeah.
Not your
Crypto.com and Chronos proved that that's all nonsense. Where am I at with the letter for Congress? It's done. I can post it. It's nothing like incredible. It's just kind of like a shell that you can use. You can plug in like your information and you can send it to your representative. If you share my concerns as a real proponent of DeFi with clarity. Yeah, honestly, I'm probably well met. I could keep going,
Probably.
but well, no, never.
I know. So in the comments, Bearded and Magic are trying to trip me up over here. I cannot believe it, saying ask him about XRP, Basecamp, and the Clarity Act. No, another time. If you want to hear about that, then you got to come into the community, and Alex, I'm sure, will tell you.
I will absolutely die on this hill.
But we got to go. So thank you, my friends, as always, for being the very best part of what we do. We'll be back tomorrow with more Rise Up Morning Show. Until then, my friends, everybody stay safe. Be well. Rise up.